the vibration of clarity, I love it so much. It feels really good. And I feel so much clarity. In fact, I could write another little note for myself on this. I feel much more clarity around Flowshal, why it matters, why it is here. I feel more clarity on me, my voice, my message, what I am meant to be talking about, who I am meant to be working with. And oh my gosh, if I could just like bask in this clarity, I'm getting this visual of myself like rolling around naked in like liquid gold and just relishing in the juicy feeling of clarity. Welcome to the Joyous Path to Millions podcast with me, your host, Emily June Wilcox, serial entrepreneur, 7-figure business owner, mindset junkie, creator of the Money Wound Medicine program, devoted mama of 2, and lover of coffee and crystals. My mission is to put more money in the hands of soulpreneurs through healing money wounds, building abundant businesses, and balancing masculine and feminine energy. When we do this, we collectively up-level the frequency of the planet and help usher in new paradigm wealth. Each week, a new episode will air featuring expert advice, live coaching, and guest interviews where we'll dive into honest money conversations and the behind-the-scenes truth of building our aligned fempires. We all deserve a healthy, empowered relationship with money so we can experience more freedom, pleasure, and joy on our joyous path to millions. So get ready and let's dive in. Hello, my loves. Welcome to the Joyous Path to Millions. I am here to record August celebrations and stretches. It's September 1st, so it's actually really perfect timing because I had to go through the numbers and I had to I actually went back through my whole calendar in August because I didn't do a great job of note-taking throughout the month. And once again, I feel like I'm always saying this, but holy moly, what a month. And it's also so cool because we just had a blue moon, which is 2 full moons in a month. It only happens every few years. And that happened on August 30th. So it felt like the end of a month, the end of the summer season. I had this journal prompt, which asked me to look back to the last blue moon, which was in October of 2020. In order to see what's come to fruition since then. And I completely had goosebumps because I realized that in October of 2020, I gave a talk on stage. It was like the biggest live talk I've ever done. There were about 70 or 80 entrepreneurs in the room, plus hundreds tuning in virtually because we were still in COVID times. And I gave a 90-minute talk on building a business that you love. And at the time, you guys, I was only running our agency. But of course, I didn't really talk at all about running an Amazon agency because that wasn't the purpose of this talk. And instead, it stretched me to very vulnerably share all of the inner work tools that brought me to that point. And I led this room through a guided meditation. There were people crying and sharing what was on their heart and what they saw when they met their future self. It was incredibly impactful. And afterwards, people were coming up to me and sharing how impactful it was. And they were saying, you do this for work, right? And I said, no, I run an Amazon agency. And I could just see this very confused and puzzled look on their faces. And they would say, no, you need to be doing this. And I really felt that in that moment, a seed was planted. And I didn't put pressure on knowing when it would sprout, when it would harvest, when it would bear fruit. I just knew that a seed was planted and I was open to the magic of it. And in hindsight, I can see how quickly it all happened because that seed was planted in October of 2020. End of December 2020 was when Spirit told me to take my soulbatical, my time away from Elevate, which I started in January of 2021. And during that soulbatical, that's when I received the guidance to start coaching and coach on money. And it wasn't until March then of 2021 that I led my first free masterclass. So it's just been wild. Like, what a freaking journey. I can't believe it. So back to the task at hand, which is to talk about August celebrations and stretches. Okay, you're going to laugh / maybe not laugh. Maybe this is like so obvious to everyone but me. But the only note that I had for August before I just went through my calendar was so happy with Sarah and Sabrina. Sarah's my new assistant in the coaching business. Sabrina is our social media strategist. And I was just feeling so excited about having both of them start at the beginning of August, which is when I wrote that. Literally, they started August 1st. And they're also on my list of stretches. So maybe I'll just jump down there because it's only been a month and there have been a lot of conversations with Radical Candor. And there's definitely been times with both of them where I'm like, I don't know if this is the right person. I just don't know. Where there was like lack of communication or lack of follow through or mistakes happening or them just not being on it with stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I could share where I'm feeling in the moment, but I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. I sort of struggle with seeing the potential in people, but then also really wanting to be honest about where my standards are and not knowing, I guess, what the right balance of that is. I am proud of myself for not letting things build up and really just having super open and honest conversations. I think they're both incredible humans that are so talented and will do well wherever they are. And I hope that they will be the right fit long-term for my businesses. I'm celebrating that in August. I got a new one-on-one client who I absolutely love. It's someone I've had the pleasure of working with in the past, and I've been a client of hers. And it just is so honoring when women like that choose me as their coach. And I brag that it's been going so well. Also, that was something I wrote down as a stretch. So she signed up for my highest level of one-on-one coaching. And I really did observe in myself the urge to over-deliver at that highest price point. I feel very integrated at the lower level of one-on-one coaching price point, but something about that higher price, I do notice myself wanting to lean forward a little bit and over-deliver. And I just sat with the observation and didn't choose to over-deliver. And it's actually going so well, and the magic is unfolding, and I feel like we're settling into the relationship so beautifully. So yay. And I brag on her behalf. Like, she was in my Telegram this morning telling me how she has 33 clients signed up for a new offer that she just launched. So her stretch goal is 200, and I feel so good that she is going to get that. And she's been wanting momentum in her business. She's been wanting to feel volume and feel like she's serving more people in her paid containers. And we're doing it. We're doing it. And we've only been working together for 2 weeks. So it's really fun to see. And it's not like it's all me. It's mainly her in spirit. But there's something so magical that happens when it's like the client coming with their expertise, their desire, their commitment, the coach coming with a new, fresh perspective, and spirit coming in and conspiring with us to make magic. Okay, the kids started school in August, so that is definitely a celebration and a stretch. I'm noticing a theme here where so many of the things that I've celebrated also have had a shadow side, which just is what it is and how fascinating. But I was so ready for them to start school, and for Faye, it's been the most effortless transition. She has been having her best day ever, every single day. Like, she wakes up, cannot wait to go to school, absolutely adores her teacher. She is in the same class as her best friend and a lot of her close friends, which we're very, very thankful for. And, you know, I said for her, it was like the first day of school was a family reunion. It really felt that way. Like, it was just giving hugs and saying hi and asking everyone how their summer was, and her getting to run up and say hi to her teacher from last year. Whereas for JJ, it's been a stretch. Now, he started kindergarten, and that's a massive transition. And he has done incredibly well with it. Like, I'm so proud of him. And Of course, he's been more highly emotional and acting out and a little bit harder to manage on the home front, which is so normal. I had lunch with a friend of mine the other day, and she said, I really feel like adults forget, because how often are we really doing new things that we did not sign up for, that we have no context around? And she's right. I went to an entrepreneur's lunch this month, which should also go on my celebrations. I got to type that in. Entrepreneurs lunch. Yay. I'm typing it in because A, I want to remember it, and B, it's like a vision board come true moment, because I have been calling in more local women that I really connect with, and it was so great. I love those people. Anyway, I bring it up because I signed up for it. I wanted to do it. I actually even knew one woman who was going to be there. And still, I got there and had that moment where it's like, am I in the right place? Is it the right time? What if this is so awkward? Am I just going to walk up to people and introduce myself? And I signed up for that. And I can read a name tag and I can go say hi, and I know what a networking event is like. And I also would not have wanted to go back and do it the next day and the day after that and the day after that, which when you think about kindergarten, it's not too dissimilar from that type of situation. So giving grace to JJ during that transition, and also just celebrating him so hard. It feels like a new chapter in our family where both kiddos are in elementary school. It's absolutely wild. There's something about your littlest being in kindergarten where I don't really feel like a mom of like young kids anymore, like very fully out of the toddler phase. So it's wild and it's special and I love it and I am celebrating it. Also new to me in August is I started working on a maker's schedule where my week kind of batches activities and there's a common theme in each day. And on focus days, there's very protected creation time, not just for like an hour or two, but for bigger chunks of time. It is still a work in progress because there are definitely things on my calendar that were scheduled before I committed to the maker's schedule. And also just other one-offs that I couldn't control. Even despite that, I am absolutely loving it. And it's not like I've never known the concept of working on a more batched schedule, but I think I rebelled against the structure of it. And if I'm being completely honest, my why wasn't big enough. And so my boundaries were weak. Now my why is bigger because I really see that in order for me to create the things I want to create, I need to create spaciousness and depth so that I can write, so that I can create, so that I can channel in deeper and more profound ways. And with that bigger why in place, it's easier to have strong boundaries that protect that time. It's also had unintended benefits that I love. So for example, today is podcast day. And this happens just once a month now for my podcast. So I know exactly what the theme is for today. And when the day is finished, I can feel so proud of myself and what I did for my podcast. And my mind is free from any of the shoulda, woulda, couldas around, well, I didn't do any coaching calls today, or I didn't move forward the funnel that we're building, or I didn't email my list, or I didn't create for social media. Any of that kind of stuff is gone because that wasn't the theme for today. The theme for today was podcast, and I did it and I crushed it, and I am so proud of myself. So it's really given me a lot of mental freedom and allowed me to be really proud of myself when I kind of evaluate the day at the end of the day. Speaking of that, this is so brand new. So I might do a whole episode on this at some point, but I also want to have like more than one day's worth of experience. But I created a closing ceremony for myself because what I noticed is that my workday wasn't didn't have a fixed end point. And because of that, I was continuing to bring my work into my time with the kids. So sometimes I'd be picking up Faye and she'd run up to me and I was still like recording a message for a client, or they would be working on homework and I would be at my computer, but then they would need me or ask me a question and I would be feeling annoyed because it felt like they were interrupting my work. And I really recognized that I wanted to change that. And I wanted to be more disconnected from devices. So I created a special closing ceremony that has this ritual that allows me to shut down from the workday, disconnect from the addicting aspect of these dang devices, and then really intentionally step into my role as mother, wife, and well-rounded human being who has joys and passions and playfulness outside of work. So I loved it. I felt profoundly different yesterday and this morning. So I thought it was going to be difficult. And if day one is any indication, it actually was quite effortless. And I was so ready for it. Celebrating me, so hardcore for that. In August, I also did so many podcast interviews. I think there was one week where I was interviewed for 6 different shows, which is just wild. And also felt great to be so visible and reaching so many new people. And I had a couple new clients sign up for Money Wound Medicine this month. And I believe that that's probably evidence of these podcast interviews, because that's the primary place where I'm talking about money wounds and what they are and how to diagnose them and how to heal them and why they matter. So celebrating those people who jumped into Money Wound Medicine, and I brag that they are from different countries. I'm building such a global business, which feels great. And I think one is a man based on the name, which also feels so fun. What else? I figured out a new back-end system that I'm really excited about. It's been an ongoing question in the business, like which tech stack we'll really be building on. And I currently have things split between 2 different pieces of software, neither of which I love for moving forward. And we were testing a different piece of software to ideally consolidate and move everything over to, but it wasn't feeling like a full body yes. And even my assistant, I could tell she had her hesitations. And then I found something that feels really, really good. And we're just moving forward with that. So the vibration of clarity, I love it so much. It feels really good. And I feel so much clarity. In fact, I could write another little note for myself on this. I feel much more clarity around Flowshal, why it matters, why it is here. I feel more clarity on me, my voice, my message, what I am meant to be talking about, who I am meant to be working with. And oh my gosh, if I could just like bask in this clarity, I'm getting this visual of myself like rolling around naked in like liquid gold and just relishing in the juicy feeling of clarity. It is so good. Okay. What else? Let me jump down to a couple more stretches. This is so funny. One of the things I wrote as stretches were elevate finances. Jeff has had some struggles in August that he has brought to my attention. And there's just been like tough conversations around just what the future is for that business and how much it financially supports our family versus other income streams and such. And then ironically, when I went to look at the numbers, it was Elevate Times month of the year. So go figure. The way things feel and then the way things objectively look on paper can sometimes be very different. Nevertheless, it was a stretch. And I'm so proud of us in the way that Jeff and I are communicating and navigating it together. Another stretch is that I was in a situation where I felt like someone was using bro marketing tactics to sell me. And it was triggering and uncomfortable, and I did not enjoy it at all. Continuing our theme of there being 2 sides to every coin, the other side of it is that I really like what this person is doing. And Jeff and I both feel really interested in working with her. And we had like a free session and it was so great. And then for it to turn into like a text message conversation with like yicky bro marketing tactics, I don't know, like she might have lost the sale. And if she didn't, it's only because I can compartmentalize how good she is at delivering her service versus her sales tactics. And I think it's maybe triggering for me particularly because I was taught those methods and I even use those methods. And I don't know that I've fully forgiven myself for that, but I really hate them. Like, I don't know if you've ever been sold to this way where they won't tell you the price. You have to ask, and they will just leave such long, awkward silences. And I just want to say, who taught you this and why are you doing this? Like, does it truly actually feel good in your bones? No, it doesn't. You're only doing it because you think that you have to say things in a certain way in order for me to buy. And if you actually trusted me and believed in my sovereignty and believed in the abundance of this universe, it would be fine. Like, we have the money in the bank account right now. And just because we're not choosing to invest it in your program right now does not mean that we're in lack or scarcity. It doesn't mean that you've lost the sale. It doesn't mean that you need to say something to manipulate us into doing it right now. And why would you even want us in your program if we came in based off of these like false urgency tactics? It's like the whole thing just grosses me out. And can you hear the trigger? So I have my own healing to do around that for sure. What else? Oh, okay. So the last stretch I wanted to share is that I've been in this peer mastermind for the last, I don't know, year and a half at least. That's been really beautiful and supportive in so many ways. And in August, it seemingly has dissolved. We did take a break over the summer, and then we got back together and we committed to doing an in-person retreat and then kind of seeing where things went from there. And then after making that commitment, the in-person retreat plan sort of fell apart and was postponed, but perhaps sort of postponed indefinitely. I don't know. I'm getting the feeling that it may just never happen. And so it doesn't really feel like the closing of this container has been treated with as much love and grace as, or no, grace isn't the right word, as much love and honoring, there we go, of what that group actually meant and how impactful it was. So that feels a little stretchy and a little sad, and also feels freeing in a way because there were aspects of it that did not feel as effortless as I would have liked. And so I'm sure it's creating space for something new that will be amazing. But, you know, it doesn't feel good when something just sort of, it's like the ghosting goodbye, where you're like, wait, that person just left the party and they didn't say goodbye to me. I feel so incomplete. That's a little how this situation feels. Okay, let's see. Any more celebrations that I didn't share? Oh, we pitched a massive brand for Elevate in August. Like, if I were to share who it is, it's a household name and someone who is at the top of a massive, massive category. So that feels really exciting. And their team has asked us for a contract to go through legal review. So that's a really good sign that we'll probably land them. And what a fun thing to celebrate. Also, I did sound bath in August at this incredible sound bath place in PV that I think I've mentioned in the past. One of my girlfriends held a fall vision board night and she had someone come in and do private sound bath for us. So I've done double sound bath in August, which is amazing. Plus the full moon yoga on the ocean for the Pisces full moon. And it was just a $20 donation, and it all goes to our local education foundation, which supports our students in our schools. Like, could it get any better than that? It absolutely felt like a vision board moment come true. It was so special, so sacred. I wish I could download the picture that is in my head and share it with you all. We went to Disney. Our passes don't work over the summer. So once they opened back up, we got to go. We went the day before school started and it felt so fun to be back. And we renewed our passes for another year and we paid in cash, which felt great. And that's it. Those are my highlights and celebrations. So check this out. From a financial standpoint, in August, my coaching business plus Flowshul, although it's mostly my coaching business, but I just don't have them like separated out yet, did $32,370 cash. Elevate did $90,622 for a grand total of $122,992. So August was officially the best month of the year thus far for both businesses, which is wild. And I didn't know that until I ran the numbers. So just a little plug for looking at your numbers, because you may be very pleasantly surprised. And it's amazing what you'll find when you actually look. And it can be so different than even how it feels. My coaching business did feel very abundant this month, but as I mentioned, Elevate felt challenging. And then it turns out, what do you know? $90,000 cash collected. So that is my update. I would love to hear from you, like what's on top? What are you celebrating from August or the end of summer? How are you transitioning into fall? Feel free to slide into my DMs. I really, really love it when you guys leave me messages and tell me what you're enjoying about the show. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and making this show so incredible. I will talk to you soon. Listeners like you have made this a top 3% global podcast. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, and leave a review. I also love hearing listener feedback, so feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram @mmakesmoney. If you would like to explore hiring me as your money healer and business mentor, hit the link in the show notes or head to explore.emilywilcox.com. Until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes on your joyous path to millions.